How's it going, everybody? So a few weeks ago, you might remember that I posted an announcement both on the channel and on my Instagram saying that I will be holding a special Q&A video to celebrate not just 20,000 subscribers, but also 10 years on YouTube. This video was meant to come out last Friday, but because I was out of town, I was actually in Dallas for the past week visiting very close friends. I wasn't able to make this video before I left, and as such I had to delay making this video and my special, my other special 10 years video until after I got back. I literally got back last night, so trying to make this video as quickly as I can and just get them out of the way before the college semester, the next semester, starts up on Monday. So this video is going to be coming out on Friday, August 19th, a week later than I initially had planned, but better late than never, I guess. So I haven't done a Q&A on this channel in over 5 years. The last time I did one was back in 2017, and back then, after making that video, I decided I would not do a Q&A anytime soon because that video took a while to make. As expected, this video is probably going to be even longer. I asked you all, I opened the floor up to everybody on Instagram and YouTube to ask whatever questions you'd like, and I have 2 pages worth of questions, if you can see, and that amounts to 57 total questions that I got asked. Yeah, so 39 from Instagram and 18 from YouTube, which is crazy. So thank you to everybody who posted a question, and a lot of them were repeat questions, so I kind of combined them under the same question, but that's still pretty. That's the that's the American Airlines flight going to Chicago. It's 2 p.m. Yeah, there we go. I couldn't film that right now, I couldn't show you, but that was it's American ERJ-145 going to Chicago, because the airport's right there, they fly right over. So that's perfect, man. I was hoping to actually get that in this video. I was hoping to be sitting out here and hope that one of the planes would pass over. There we go, American, I think that was flight 3784 to Chicago. When you live in a small city like I do, you tend to memorize these things because there's not much that goes on at this airport in Champaign. But yeah, so 57 total questions, almost 60. And like I said, I did combine a bunch of them under the same question, which ends up actually, that's even more than 57 questions now that I look at it. It's well over 60 total, but we're gonna actually take this 60 questions, 57 questions that we'll be addressing total. So we're gonna start off with the Instagram questions that you all asked me. I'm gonna try and put all of the questions in the comment, not the comments, the description, or maybe I will put it in the comments, I don't know. But I will make a whole list of every single question that got asked, and I'll also leave the names of everybody who asked these questions. So if you are short on time, you can refer to the timestamps or whatever, just look at whatever question you asked and you can be on your way. Unless you want to watch the full video, that would be nice too. So, alright, sorry about that, everybody. I just decided that before I started going through all the questions, I would move inside real quick, just because the background noise from outside was getting a bit too much. So I thought that if I continued with the video outside, you might not be able to hear what I was saying because the background noise was just getting a bit too much. So now that I'm inside, let's finally get into the questions. So like I said, we'll start off with Instagram first. The vast majority of questions were asked through Instagram, 39 questions that we'll be addressing in this video, and then the remaining 18 from YouTube. Like I said, there were a few repeats, so those have already been accounted for, but 39 overall from Instagram we'll be addressing first, and then the remaining 18 from YouTube. So let's get started. First of all here, which is your favorite model? And I had a similar question asked later on for my favorite model. So never really thought about this. There's a lot of models in my collection that I like a lot, especially on this shelf right here. You can see a bunch of them behind me, my display models. These are all really, really cool. I like a bunch of these very, very much. But if I had to choose one, definitely this one right here, the JC Wings PIA 777-300ER. Main reason is because it's a 777-300ER, my favorite plane. The second reason, it's PIA, and likewise, I do like the livery very, very much. So that's why that one's definitely one of my favorites. And then some other ones like this Emirates is really, really nice. I love that one. And then this other PIA right here is also really cool. And then of course the little American 145 and the American 757 are also really, really nice. And then I have a bunch of 1400s that are really, really cool as well. My favorite one, if I had to pick just one, it would be this one right here. Next question is, which airline do you want to stay loyal to? That's a good question because I never really thought about this. Living in a small city like I do, like Champaign, Urbana, we only have one airline these days, and that's American Eagle. I tend to limit flying American these days because I'm sure most of you are aware, in recent history they've been kind of going downward in terms of the service and whatever. So domestic travel wise, I tend to avoid them because they're just not that good. They're not as good as they once were. And loyalty wise, realistically speaking, for domestic travel, I would like to stay loyal to United. And then for international travel, if I need to go to Pakistan, for example, or anywhere in like Asia or the Middle East, I would stay loyal to Qatar Airways if, you know, if they're one of the options. But if I was going to Europe or something, then I don't really care. But international travel wise, Qatar Airways. Domestic travel wise, United. It would be Delta, to be honest, because Delta's way better, but they're not that big where we live. United and American are the two main airlines here in Illinois. So yeah, again, United for domestic, Qatar for international. 3, this is from one of my favorite YouTubers. Are you a rail fan too? Yes, I'm a huge rail fan. Actually, I think I was a rail fan before I was an av geek. Can you believe it? The first video on this channel back in 2012 was a video of an Amtrak train, which I deleted obviously, but yes, huge rail fan. Aviation has become more of a passion in recent history, but still I am a huge rail fan at heart. If you want to talk trains with me, I will happily hold a conversation about that with you. But yeah, huge rail fan, and you might have noticed from recent videos that I made, and I have a few more videos coming out in the future, train content wise. I would like to make more train related content like trip reports and stuff like that. Sad reality is they're not that popular on this channel because we are mostly aviation. But yes, I'm a huge rail fan. So thank you so much, Sufyan Bhai, for that question. Number 4 from Safwan, why did you choose aerospace engineering for your degree? Did you ever consider being a pilot? So as I might have hinted at earlier, I live in Champaign, Urbana, which is a huge college town. We're the home of the University of Illinois' flagship university. Flagship campus is the correct term. So growing up, obviously, because I live in this town, live in the city, growing up, I would always find myself on campus, whether it be to get some food or field trips or whatever. I was always on campus every now and then growing up. So I've just gotten really familiar with it from a very young age. And likewise, from a very young age, I always knew I wanted to go here. I wanted to stay local. I wanted to go to U of I for college. And unfortunately, they don't offer many aviation-related programs. They used to have a flight school, but that closed in 2014 or something like that because of lack of funding. So the only main flight school that we have in our city is out of the community college, which I am considering doing some classes maybe if I want to go the pilot route. But aerospace engineering was the main aviation-related program they had here. Somehow I got in, and here we are today. So it is, I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's it's a decently hard program, and I'm about to start my sophomore year on Monday, and that's going to be a very tough. It's going to be a very tough year for sure. But hopefully, you know, inshallah, when I graduate with my degree in this field in 2025, after that, I will probably consider going the pilot route, becoming a professional pilot, airline pilot. I would like to eventually be an airline pilot. That would be so cool. But in recent months, I have started considering going that route. I never really said I wanted to be a pilot from a young age, even though people kind of assumed. I never admitted it. But in recent months, like literally this year, I've just kind of come to the realization that maybe this is something I want to do. So I plan to stick with aerospace engineering for now, get that degree, inshallah, and then when I graduate, I will start doing the pilot stuff. We'll see what happens with that. But so there we go. That's the answer to that. Short answer, why did I choose aerospace engineering? It was the only aviation program offered at my university, my university of choice, and I just recently started considering becoming a pilot, so we'll see how that works out in the future. Next up, have you ever been to Europe? Technically, I have been to 4 places in Europe. One of them I might not, it technically doesn't really count, but I'm still going to count it nonetheless. So 2007, 2008, 2009, we connected through Heathrow a lot, going to Pakistan. We'd fly from Chicago to London Heathrow on American, then London Heathrow to Dubai, Dubai to Karachi on Emirates, and then it was the opposite routing on the way back. And we did that a few times, like 3 times I think total. So I connected through Heathrow a few times, and then I actually went to London itself in 2011, and then on that same trip I also went to Paris. So those are two places there. I did also go to Barcelona, Spain in 2010 and 2011. I didn't actually go to Barcelona itself, we actually connected through the airport. Also going to Pakistan, we flew from Chicago to Barcelona, Barcelona to Lahore, Lahore to Karachi on PIA, and on the way back a few weeks, like 3 weeks later, 2011, it was Karachi to Barcelona, and then Barcelona to Chicago on PIA. And fun fact, it was this exact plane right there that we flew on that routing. So I haven't actually been to, I never got the chance to leave the airport in Barcelona, go visit Barcelona itself, but I guess I'll kind of count it. So I've been in Spain for like 2 hours on those two separate occasions. And most recently, 2014, I went to Istanbul in Turkey. When we were going to Saudi Arabia, we flew from JFK to Istanbul, and then Istanbul to Jeddah, and then a week later, we flew back to the States through Istanbul. We stayed in Istanbul for 3 days. So that was a lot of fun. Istanbul is a really great city, love it. And it was a lot of fun. So that was 2014. I haven't been back to Europe ever since then, but I would like to visit more of Europe in the future. So those are the 4 places that I've been to in Europe. Number 6, what's your relationship with Pakistan? So for those of you who haven't seen all the Pakistan related content that I've made over the years, and specifically this year when I went there when I went back there in January, my family is originally from Pakistan, so that's my heritage. That's what makes me who I am physically, and from on the outside and the inside, that's what makes me who I am. So I speak Urdu, which is the national language of Pakistan with my family, among other languages too. But yeah, that Pakistan is my heritage, and I cherish that very much. I love going back there. It's one of my favorite places in the world, and I really hope I get to go back there soon. Inshallah, this winter, we'll see if we can make that happen. But it's a very, very special place to me, and I want people to know how special it is to me, and that's why I try to promote it as much as I can on this channel, through this channel. And I hope I've been successful in doing that, and I try my best to portray it in a good way through aviation as well. So that's my relationship with Pakistan there. Will you be going to Airliners International in Dallas next year? So that's in June of 2023. I'm actually surprised that people are getting their hotel rooms and everything booked for that. I haven't decided yet, because we'll see if I get an internship after my sophomore year or during my sophomore year, if I'll be busy with that. I don't know yet. I would like to go, but I will decide. I will give you a definite answer when the time comes closer, because right now I really don't know yet. I don't know if I will. If I do go, it'll probably be for just 1 day, and yeah, so I really don't know if I'll be going next year. But if I do, I'll let you know, or I'll make an announcement closer to when the convention happens. Next question, what's my most memorable flight and why? So I've done a lot of cool flights over the years, but I think the most memorable would have to be on the one that I took on January 6th, 2022, Qatar Airways Flight 726 from Chicago to Doha. Just so many things. Number one, it was my first flight with Qatar Airways after over 8 years. Secondly, it was my first time going back to Pakistan after 6 years. And thirdly, it was my first flight ever in a premium cabin flying long haul. So those 3 things, plus just the anticipation of that trip, just everything that led up to it, I'll never forget it. It was crazy. So definitely that was my most memorable flight, especially when you look at the 4 flights I took in Q Suite back in January on the Pakistan trip. I think that one might have been the most memorable, just because of what it was leading up to. So definitely that one. And then similarly, what's your best flight experience? I think overall, definitely Q Suite. There is no questioning. Qatar Airways Q Suite business, it's a league of its own. You cannot beat it. Well, I can't really say that because I haven't flown any other business cabin or premium cabin long haul before, but it was just incredible, really incredible. So Qatar Airways Q Suite, definitely my best flight experience. And then similarly, what's your worst flight experience is the next question. So I've never really had any bad experiences on planes when it comes to like service per se, but if I had to name one instance that was especially bad, I would definitely say in December of 2015 when I was flying Etihad Airways to Pakistan. So yeah, that was December 18th of 2015. We were flying Etihad from Chicago to Abu Dhabi and then Abu Dhabi to Karachi. So on that flight, the Chicago Abu Dhabi flight, my seat wouldn't recline and my TV screen also froze mid-flight, so it wouldn't work, and I didn't know what to do about it. So that was also, fun fact, my first ever trip report that I made of that flight. That was the first one that got it all started. So I'll leave a link if you want to watch it. I'll leave a card or something if you want to see it and see what I'm talking about. But yeah, that flight, so my seat wouldn't recline, the TV screen stopped working mid-flight. I think they didn't even reset it. Well, actually, that's not their fault. I didn't make mention of it, but yeah, so those two things kind of ruined the experience for me. And then I also remember I wasn't even that tall back then. I think I've barely grown. I'm still 5'11". I want to say I'm 6 feet, but I don't think the doctor will agree with me on that. But I think, so that was 2015, so I might have been like 5'9" or something, 5'9". Even back then, I remember being very, very cramped in that seat. Even with my backpack in front, I just remember struggling, just like I couldn't feel, I wasn't comfortable in that seat. Maybe because number one, it didn't recline. So I felt really, really cramped in that seat too on that flight. And then even when coming back on the Abu Dhabi Chicago flight 3 weeks later, I remember just feeling really, really cramped in that seat. I don't even know why. I felt more normal when the seat was reclined as opposed to when it was upright, you know what I mean? So it was just really weird. And I didn't make a video on that flight, unfortunately, because I lost all the footage. I deleted all the footage. I don't even know why I did that. But as far as like bad experiences go, I think Etihad Airways on that trip was not great. The flight was, I mean, the experience was good, don't get me wrong, it's a good airline. Etihad, it was not that great on that experience. That's what I'll say. So that was the long answer. There we go. Next question, Aviation MCO is back with his second profile. When are we gonna have our 1v1? Well, buddy, if you wanna fly me down to Orlando, pay for my ticket, that would be great. We can do it down there. Or if you wanna come to Champaign, we can set it up here, or send me a location. We can just meet up and do it somewhere. I don't really know if it's even gonna happen, but that's my answer for you there. You've done many long airline trips. Is there a rail trip that has caught your attention? Yes, definitely. My dad and I were actually talking about this. We've actually talked about this a couple of times actually, because my dad actually, he took Amtrak everywhere back in the day when he first came to the US. He used to take Amtrak all over the country. And recently we've been talking about doing some sort of long distance rail trip somewhere. I would like to eventually do Champaign and New Orleans, because the long distance train that goes through here is Amtrak City of New Orleans, which goes all the way down to New Orleans. And I would like to do that at some point, because it is a long distance journey and Amtrak is pretty famous for its long distance trains. So eventually I would like to do that at some point. Another one would be maybe the Lakeshore Limited to New York, because I go to New York a lot, right? So maybe Chicago to Albany or Chicago to New York City would be cool to do on the Lakeshore Limited someday. And then another one, like leisure travel wise, would be definitely the Empire Builder from Chicago to Seattle, or Chicago to like Whitefish, Montana, or something like that. That's a very, very beautiful route when they go all the way to Seattle and Portland or whatever. So that'd be a really cool journey to do. But besides Amtrak, I've always wanted to do a train trip in Pakistan. Next time I go back to Pakistan, hopefully we can do some sort of long distance journey from Karachi to Islamabad or Lahore, or even Peshawar for that matter, because I have family over there as well. So train travel in Pakistan is definitely an experience, and I've gotten more interested in Pakistani train travel, Pakistani trains in recent years. Don't know why, I've just developed an interest for that aspect of trains. So hopefully I can do a rail trip over there sometime. My dad's also we actually tried to do it last time when we went in January, but we just didn't have time to do it. So hopefully next time we'll get some sort of train trip in Pakistan next time we go, because I would love to share that with you all. What was the rarest or oldest thing you've seen at O'Hare in your life? So I haven't seen many old things at O'Hare in the various years that I've been here, plane spotting from there, flying from there. But one moment that I will never forget was 2012. We had actually just landed from New York. We had come from LaGuardia on the United A320. And I remember looking at the window, and I never expected this, but I looked out the window, and of all planes, I see Air Force One sitting on the ramp. I will never forget this. I looked out the window and I just see Air Force One just sitting there. I'm like, what is this doing here? And then I tell my sister who's sitting next to me, I'm like, Barack Obama, like the president is here. Barack Obama is literally here. Air Force One is standing right there. And she didn't believe me. And then sure enough, the pilot comes on and he makes an announcement saying, there's been a ground stop because the president is here. So all the traffic is stopped and we can't go anywhere until Air Force One clears or until the president gets off the plane. And I will never forget it. But it was so random. I never expected to see Air Force One. And yeah, I will never forget that. I just looking out the window and seeing Air Force One just sitting there was crazy. And then in recent history, 2020, in the height of the pandemic, when countries were repatriating their citizens back from other places, of course, PIA sent a repatriation flight to Chicago in, I think it was June of 2020. And so I went to Chicago that day just to see it. Me and my dad went up there to O'Hare to see it. We missed the landing, but we were able to see it parked on the remote stand. So for those of you who don't know, PIA doesn't fly to Chicago anymore. They most recently flew to Chicago regularly from 2010 to 2012, and then they stopped flying in 2012. So they came back in 2020 after almost 8 years just to repatriate Pakistani citizens back to Pakistan. And that was the first time in history we ever got a non-stop flight from Pakistan. It came directly Islamabad to Chicago, and then it directly flew back Chicago to Islamabad. So it was amazing to see that. And of course I got a picture with it. I got as many pictures and video of it as I could, of it just sitting there. So those two were definitely the rarest, most memorable plane spotting moments that I've seen at O'Hare, definitely. Number 14 from JJ Skippy, out of all the videos you've uploaded, which are you most proud of? So I take pride in every single video that I make. I try to make every single video as high quality, as informative, and as good as I can make it. So there's many videos that I've done in the past that I'm very, very happy with how they turned out. Most recently, the American Airlines in Doha. That was a very, very good video. I'm very, very happy with how that turned out. But overall, I think the best video I think would have to be definitely the Q Suite trip reports that I made back in earlier this year when I went to Pakistan, flew Qatar Airways Q Suite, Chicago to Doha, and then Doha to Chicago. Those two videos I'm very, very happy with how they turned out. Actually, all four of them for that matter. The Chicago Doha, Doha Karachi, Karachi Doha, and then Doha Chicago. Those four I'm very, very happy. So I can't choose just one. Those videos all took a lot of time and effort to make. And I'm very, very happy with how they turned out. So those four, I can't give you just one video, but that series of videos, I'm definitely very, very happy with how those turned out. Next question is, what's your favorite US airline along with plane type and why? And I got a lot of questions about favorite airplane, favorite airline. So my favorite US airline is United, 100% United. And that's because I've flown them a lot. American is actually this should not come as a surprise. American is my most flown airline, and they were my favorite at one point, but now they're not. American is just, the quality of service is not the same. American is not what it once was, and that's unfortunate. So American is no longer my favorite US airline. United is my favorite US airline. It would be Delta, but I don't fly Delta as much to justify that. But United, just because they're actually going up, they're actually improving their services, and I just like United. It's just the customer service and just the experience. I feel like it's just a lot better than American. So United is my favorite US airline. Favorite airline overall is Qatar Airways, and I don't even need to explain that. Favorite aircraft is the 777-300ER, Boeing 777-300ER, just because there's just a very sentimental reason behind why, and that is because every time I would go to Pakistan to visit my family from a young age, every single trip we'd take to Pakistan, at some point, I would always fly on a 777, more specifically a 777-300ER. So the 777 is my favorite aircraft family, but specifically the 300ER is my favorite because it's my most flown wide body aircraft. So every time I would ever fly a 777-300ER, it would just symbolize I'm going to see my family in Pakistan. It was just so special. But just because of the sentimental value, the 777-300ER, that's why it's my favorite plane. It's a nice looking plane too. Look at that. Here's Emirates right there. Beautiful looking airplane. It's just the proportions and everything. It's amazing. I love it. And it never gets old seeing it, never gets old flying it. So those are my favorite US airline, favorite airline overall, and then favorite airplane. So there we go there. The next question from Red River Aviation: what is your favorite element of sharing your passion for aviation on social media? That's a great question, and I believe my favorite element of sharing my passion is just the uniqueness of what I have to offer. Just I have so many stories to tell, so much, just a lot of, I don't know, I guess that's what it is, just all the stories that I have, from my young age to now. I've experienced a lot, seen a lot, and learned a lot. So I have all that to share with you all. And so that's what makes this channel unique, and that's what my favorite part is, that I can share videos of things that other people won't share, per se. So maybe just the uniqueness of, what I've seen and experienced in aviation growing up. That's probably what my favorite part of sharing my passion on YouTube and Instagram is, definitely. So thank you so much. Is Illinois that bad? Okay. That's a good question. I don't know why do you have to do this to me, Tom? Yes, we are that bad when it comes to football, unfortunately. I will say this right now, I don't really like football that much in terms of American football. I'm more of a basketball guy. So football wise, yes, we are bad, and I have no shame in saying we are very bad at football. Hopefully this season is a bit better. I highly doubt it. Basketball, this season is definitely going to be a bit worse, but I think we have a strong team for basketball, that's for sure. But football wise, yes, we are pretty bad at football, that's for sure. Next question from Garden State Aviation: will you ever fly Czech Airlines? Not really, I don't think so, because there's no point. They don't fly to the US anymore. They used to, but they don't fly. They only flew to JFK too. So they don't fly to JFK anymore. And if I ever end up visiting Prague or anywhere in the Czech Republic, hopefully someday, it's a beautiful place, maybe I'll fly Czech Airlines then, but in the near future, I don't see myself flying Czech Airlines anytime soon, unfortunately, because they don't fly here. They don't fly to the US. So and they don't fly anywhere that I go to, regularly. So there's no point in me flying them anytime soon. Maybe someday, but at the moment I don't see myself flying them anytime soon. Next question is: what got you into airplanes and aviation? And I had a similar question asking what got you into aviation. So I remember from being a little kid, I would always buy those little Darren, toy planes that you would find at like Hudson News or any of the random airport, convenience shops. They have like those little toy planes. I would always buy those growing up. I would always buy little airport play sets and the little toy planes. So I remember buying like the US Airways ones, the Delta, American, JetBlue, Northwest, all of those. I remember buying those little toy planes. I don't have any of those still. I have my JetBlue somewhere, my little toy JetBlue plane, but the other ones are long gone, unfortunately. But from a young age, I don't know why, it's just I was always into planes. I would always buy the little toy planes whenever I'd fly somewhere. But it wasn't until 2010 when I flew PIA to Pakistan. That trip, that 3-week trip, that was the one that really sparked the aviation interest for me. So it was that flight PK 796 from Chicago to Barcelona, and then Barcelona to Lahore, Lahore to Karachi. That flight that started it all. That really got me into aviation, because I remember we were deplaning in Barcelona. We were getting off the plane in Barcelona to go through security again. It was a glass jet bridge, so you could look out and see the plane and everything. I remember looking out and just being marveled. I was just so impressed by the size of the airplane, and just looking at it, I was fascinated. And PIA Pakistan, they are the reason why I'm so into aviation, because they started the passion, right? And then on that trip, when I got to Pakistan, one of my uncles, he took me to the Pakistan Air Force Museum, to the Pakistan Maritime Museum in Karachi. He bought me my first model airplanes. Karachi, Pakistan, PIA, they fueled this passion for aviation that I have now. So it's all because of that, that I'm into aviation and airplanes, all thanks to Pakistan, PIA, and especially my uncle who got me into this amazing passion, or interest for sure. Next question is: what airline do you want to try next, or what airline do you want to fly in the future? I had a few questions about that. So realistically speaking, definitely British Airways. heard a lot of really cool, very cool airline. Like their business class is terrible, that's a fact, but I've heard a lot of great things about them. Unfortunately, they don't fly the 747 anymore. They only fly the, you know what they fly. But British Airways is one that I would really love to try at some point. I've never actually flown. I've flown Turkish, but I've never flown anything other than Turkish as far as European airlines go. And Turkish isn't even European. They're like European and Asian, so or Middle Eastern, whatever. So they're not like fully a European airline. So if I had to choose any airline I wanted to try next, like realistically speaking, any European, like British Airways or KLM or Lufthansa, those are my top three, or Swiss too, Swiss or Austrian, so those five. So any European airline I would love to try at some point. What got you into collecting? So I kind of touched on this earlier. My uncle actually, when I was in Pakistan in 2010, 2011, he bought me my first little model airplanes, and I still have one of them. It's a little TWA straight-o-liner, Boeing 307 straight-o-liner. Actually, let me get it right now. So this little thing right here, this is a scale 1/250 TWA Boeing 307. So I got this from Pakistan. I got it in Karachi. It's a model shop they had there. So I got this one. I got a BEA de Havilland Comet. That one broke, unfortunately. I don't have that anymore. And I also got a Swiss Air, I think it was an MD-11, which I don't have anymore either, sadly. But this is the one, this is the OG. This is one of the first models I ever got, if you can see it there. So it's definitely showing its age, but yeah, that was, my uncle bought me that one in I think it was 2011, in fact. So that, and then watching a bunch of model airplane videos back in the day, those really got me into collecting. And yeah, I think that's a good answer right there. This is a really good question. How long will you continue to upload onto YouTube with college and work taking a lot of your time? I plan to keep this channel around as long as I can. You know, there's no really clear-cut answer to when I will stop YouTube, because it's always been a passion of mine since as long as I can remember. So even if obviously when I go through higher levels of college and eventually getting an actual job, I do have jobs right now, but like an actual career that I stick with for the rest of my life. I plan to keep this channel around as long as I can. Even if I don't stop making even if I stop making videos, I'll keep the channel around for sure, for future generations and stuff to see. So as long as I can do it, I'll do it. I'll continue to upload as long as I can. Even during the school year, I'll try to get at least one video out a week. If not, one video every 2 weeks. If not, one video a month. As long as I can maintain some sort of consistency, I'll do my best to keep that up. Seb Aviation asks, what's your favorite airport in the US? Oh, that's tough. I think I'm just gonna go with Honolulu, Hawaii, because number one, that's my home. That was my original home. I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii, and that was the first airport I ever flew out of. And it's just such a unique airport, the terminal, and it's Hawaii, it's my home. So Honolulu International will always be a special place, and I think it'll always be my favorite airport in the US for sure. Honolulu, Hawaii. Just would love to go back there. That's my first ever home. That's where I came to Earth, Honolulu, Hawaii. So that's my favorite airport for sure. What's a country you want to visit? That's another really good question. I love visiting different countries. I love experiencing all the different cultures and stuff like that. And I've been fortunate to visit many countries around the world in my over the past few years. One country I've always wanted to visit is the Maldives in Southeast Asia. It's a small island nation near India and Sri Lanka. The Maldives is a beautiful, beautiful place. If you've ever seen pictures of it, it's really, really a beautiful place. It's very expensive to go there and to stay there because it's just so, the resorts and everything, it's top notch. It's like first class level. So the Maldives is definitely a bucket list place for me to go. Realistically, I would also like to, like in the near future, I definitely see myself going to Australia. Maybe Australia would definitely be a cool place to visit, and somewhere in Africa, on the continent of Africa. I've never been to Africa before, the continent as a whole. So Morocco or Egypt as well over there would be cool. And then Southeast Asia, Indonesia would be really cool. I've always wanted to go to Bali, Denpasar, Bali, and Jakarta. That would be really cool. Singapore as well, but that's a lot of countries. You only wanted one country. One country, definitely Maldives. Beautiful place. 25th question is thoughts on Gemini jets. They're trying. Definitely not what they once were, but it is what it is. We have better companies these days, which is good. So at least it's not just Gemini jets. We have plenty of options these days. But they're a good company. I guess they're doing what they do best. And that's all I have to say about that. What's model that you want to be released? Wow, that's a good question. I don't know, because a lot of the models I wanted to be released have been made. We need some more Pakistani models in 1/400 scale. Okay, so NG models, I'm hoping they'll deliver on this. So, but one model definitely would love to see NG maybe release like a Air Blue A321 or like a Serene 737 or a Serene A330, something like a domestic Pakistani airline. We need more of those. We can't just keep getting PIA every 10 years and call it a day. So hopefully some 1/400 Pakistani airlines as a whole. I can't give you just one specific plane, but we need some more Pakistani airlines in 400 scale. Next question is, are you going to get any flying license? As I mentioned earlier in the video, not at the moment. I would like to pursue the pilot route after I get my bachelor's degree, and then maybe next year or so I'll maybe start up some flying lessons or something like that. I still have to go discuss this with my parents, see what we can work out, but I've always just been considering it, so maybe hopefully I'll get my private pilot's license in a few years, but not too sure about that at the moment. But I will hopefully get it at some point, inshallah. What do you do for a living? So I'm a full-time student studying in university at college. I do have some part-time jobs, but I don't have an actual like a career right now, because I'm obviously studying for my eventual lifelong career. So I don't really have anything to say right now. I'm just a student at the moment. When are you coming to Atlanta? So I was actually literally just in Atlanta for 2 hours last week, August 10th. I connected through Atlanta when I was going to Dallas from St. Louis, and those videos are going to come out over the next few weeks as well, by the way. But hopefully maybe I'll come to Atlanta some point later this year or something like that for a spotting trip. I would love to come to Atlanta just for a day trip, because I haven't done that before. I've connected through Atlanta many times, but I've never actually visited. That's a lie. I've been to Atlanta once when I was very little. I went to the Coca-Cola factory and the Georgia Aquarium and all that, but hopefully soon I'll come back to Atlanta. Be fun to come back there. Favorite Gemini Jets model ever and favorite plane in general. So favorite Gemini Jets model ever, that's a tough question. Which one would that be? I think my favorite Gemini model would have to be the maybe the Emirates A380. It's just it's A380, a cool plane. There's a lot of cool ones. I'll just say that for now, because it's a cool plane. Emirates A380 for sure. And favorite plane in general, like I mentioned, 777-300ER. Your favorite window seat on a plane? Any that is like an engine view seat. You know, I think that's one of my favorites. Like just getting the engine sound and all that. I think my favorite window seat would be that. Yeah, but usually, realistically speaking, because I always fly economy, in that sense, a wing view would be is my go-to. But favorite overall is just any engine view that you can see the engine, get all that nice sound and whatever. That's my favorite window seat for sure. Thoughts on the current state of Pakistani aviation? There's a lot of potential for Pakistani aviation as it is, for sure. And we're seeing that with all the new airlines and everything, and various new startups and all that. So a lot of potential, and it's in a great state right now. Well, I shouldn't say great state right now. It's developing, which is good, but it needs work right now. It needs a lot more development if it's going to be even like remotely competitive or remotely helpful to the masses, because most of the Pakistani public cannot afford to fly. And in total, we have, like, across all 4 major airlines, you have 40 total planes for 230 plus million people, which is pathetic. So a lot of work needs to be done. Hopefully it'll be competitive enough, or it'll be helpful to the masses and more affordable for the masses eventually. But the current state is that it's developing, but it needs more work if it's going to help people. Just like trains in Pakistan are more or less pretty helpful for everybody because they're rather affordable. It needs work in becoming more affordable and just accessible to the public in terms of how many airports there are and how many available aircraft and airlines options there are. So yeah. Serene A330 Custom Wet. I've been putting this on the back burner for so long. I hope to do it soon, but I don't know when. That's I'm sorry, I don't have a proper. The problem is I'm just shying away from it because I don't think it's going to come out that good. That's my problem. I don't think I'm going to do a good job on it. So either I'm just going to wait for somebody to release it, whenever that may be, or it'll be another few months before I actually make the model. So yeah. And then favorite airline in Pakistan, PIA, just because it's PIA. National flag carrier. They fly 777s, and it's just PIA for sure. Are you still actively working on your model collection as before, or has it reduced? I wouldn't say I'm very actively working on it. I'm definitely not buying as many models as I once was, which is a good thing. And I have a lot of models that I am planning to sell as well. I'll give more information about that later. But I'm not too involved in it. I'm still doing the videos and all that, but you know, I'm not working. Only if there's like a model that's released that I really, really want, that I've always wanted, maybe I'll buy it. But these days, it's mainly just if the model is like, that I fly on it, does it have any sentimental value to me, then I'll buy it. Or do I really, really need it for an airport project? Otherwise, I'm not too involved in it. I am kind of, it's just not as much. I try to not be as involved in it as I once was. What got you interested in trip reports, and what is a bucket list trip? Just watching trip reports, you know, growing up, flight reviews and all that growing up, that got me interested to do my own. And I tried attempting them many times, like 2013, 2014, I tried making my own. Those never really materialized, unfortunately. And it wasn't until 2016 that I uploaded my first trip report, obviously the Etihad 777 one. So just watching other people's reviews inspired me to make my own. And yeah, and what's a bucket list trip? Definitely either going to the Maldives, beautiful place, like I said, or doing a train trip, long distance train trip anywhere, Pakistan, or here in the US, going to New York or the West Coast. So those are some bucket list trips that I have there. What airplanes do you think PIA should add to their fleet next? Well, if they ever get around to doing it, which is a big maybe, big if, they definitely could use the 787 for sure. They have 3 777-200ERs that they bought directly from, or no, I think it's 4 technically. But they have 3 original 777-200ERs that they are planning to replace with 787s. So for their long haul fleet, I would love to see them get the 787. I think it's a good replacement for the 777-200ERs. So either the 787-10 maybe, actually that might be too big, so maybe the 787-9 would be nice. If not, then they can continue leasing A330s and think that's going to be a good idea. I don't know. They can do whatever they want to do. But for narrow bodies, the A320 is perfect. They seem to be doing very good with the 320s. So if they can invest a little bit more and get the 320neo, and maybe the 321neo, would be very solid for them. So those are the opinions that I have. So 320, they should stick with it. Get some newer ones, the neos if they can. Long haul wise, Boeing maybe would be the most sense, because you know the 787 has GE engines, and they've been operating GE engines for over 40 years, ever since the DC-10s and whatever. So it's from the DC-10 all the way to the 777, they've been doing GE, General Electric engines. So if they want to stick with GE, they should definitely pick up the 787 to replace the 777s eventually, which would be a very good idea, I think. That's my opinion on it. What livery would you like to see on a PIA A320 next? That's a joke, because they have 6 of them right now. They have the old livery, the Euro white livery, the retro livery, the other retro livery, the Interjet livery, or actually technically 7, the Middle East Sky Team livery, and the Middle East standard livery. They have 7 different paint schemes, and it's hilarious how they think this is okay. But I would like to see maybe another retro livery. All jokes aside, another, like, you know, homage to their, you know, 1980s, that special whatever it was called livery, the Sony Darty livery, or the sports livery. If they could do a 320 into that would be pretty cool, because that's the livery that their A300s used to wear back in the day. If they could do that, like a retro livery, that'd be pretty cool. They'll never do it, but it'd be nice if they did. Last question from Instagram. My parents think models are a waste of money. What do I do? Well, My advice is that you look them in the eyes and tell them you are exactly right. That's my advice there. Okay, I'm moving on to YouTube now. We have 18 remaining questions here. What is your favorite model airport you've recreated and why? And similarly, what's your favorite airport to model? So, favorite airport I've recreated would definitely have to be, it's a tie between Islamabad or Chicago Air Terminal 5. Both of those were amazing, huge projects, but they were very, very fun to do. And then my favorite airport to model is Chicago Air because it's my most flown from airport. It's one of my favorite airports too, and I'm always there. So O'Hare is definitely my favorite airport to model. There we go. What was your favorite part of plane spotting at O'Hare during Airliners International 2022? Meeting everybody who was there and getting to interact with everybody, especially plane spotting with everybody and getting all their opinions. And it was a lot of fun. It's my first time ever having that sort of meetup, doing something like that. It was very, very fun. So just getting to meet everybody and, you know, seeing what they had to share, hearing what they had to say, that was a lot of fun. That was my favorite part for sure. If you got the chance to re-experience any moment from those last 10 years on YouTube, what would it be? Definitely the trip when I went to Saudi Arabia and Turkey in 2014 on a enthusiast perspective, because I saw a lot of cool stuff on that trip. The old Istanbul airport, the old Jeddah airport, and it's not the old airport, it's the old terminal that we went to. So if I got to relive that and, you know, with all the equipment that I have now, film everything all over again on that trip and actually make videos from that trip, it would be really, really cool. Plane spotting, trip reports, it was such a cool trip. There was a lot of cool stuff I saw on that trip. So I would relive that experience, that trip overall, any day. It was so much fun. Next question here, which are your favorite airplane models? Any two from Airbus and Boeing. So I think this is just referring to the airplane itself, not specifically like the model planes. So two from Airbus, definitely the A330-300 and I'll say the A350-900. Those two are really nice. I like those two a lot. And then from Boeing, 777 overall, and then aside from the 777, the 757, 100%. So specifically 777-300ER and 757-200. Those two are my favorite Boeings. 5, what was your favorite flight that you went on? I might have hinted at this earlier. Qatar Airways Q Suite, definitely. Chicago to Doha, just everything that experience was, that was my favorite experience for sure. When do you go on Champagne flights? Not often, because it's like when we travel as a family, it's not that cheap to fly from here because of the limited competition, and especially right now with fuel costs being very, very high. Even in the last few years, it's not been a very affordable airport to fly from for families. So whenever I fly from Champagne, it's usually on solo trips and day trips, that whenever I want to go fly somewhere, I book flights from Champagne because it's right there. It's most convenient for me to drive just 10 minutes down the road and fly from there, as opposed to going all the way to Chicago or whatever. So I only fly from Champagne when I fly on day trips or go solo, whatever. So that's when I go to Champagne, fly from Champagne at least. Next question, have you ever been to Dane County Airport in Madison, Wisconsin? So I've never been there actually, which is weird. Yeah, no, never been there. Would like to go there someday, but never been there. 8, are you an aspiring pilot, and similarly do you plan to be a pilot? I again mentioned this earlier in the video. Eventually I hope to go down that route. So you could say yes, but I'm not technically an aspiring pilot right now. I haven't done any coursework or anything that relates to becoming a pilot, but hopefully maybe sometime down the line I'll go that way. I'll go that route and become one. We'll see what happens. Next question, are you thinking of working in the aviation field? If not, what are you studying? So I'm studying aerospace engineering right now, so if I do get a job in that, inshallah, when I graduate or anytime before I graduate, or internships, whatever, my job will probably be related to aerospace engineering, something regarding aviation and engineering. And I would like to do something as a career in aviation, just because it's been such a huge part of my life and a big passion of mine. I don't want to put all that to waste and do something I don't want to be happy in. So aerospace engineering, it's not really something that I want to stay in, if I'm being completely honest. Like I said, I am really considering going the pilot route eventually, but we'll see what happens. But yes, I am definitely thinking of working something in aviation in the future as my career. What is your favorite 1/400 scale model if I had to choose any, it would be the Phoenix PIA 777-300ER in the 2010s livery. So basically this model, but in 400 scale, just because, again, PIA, it's a 333, it's a nice livery, that's why, yep. And let's see here, what is your favorite airline and why? What's your favorite airline? Similar questions. Qatar Airways overall is my favorite, just because I like the livery and their service is amazing, and they're just a great airline. That's why I like them. So yeah, Qatar Airways for sure. How did you get obsessed with aviation? I mentioned it earlier, it was on a trip to Pakistan. I was always interested in aviation from a young age, but it was just my 2010 trip when I flew to Pakistan on PIA. That trip got me interested in, you know the story, I mentioned it earlier, so there we go. What plane is better, A350-1000 or 787-10? Oh, that's a tough one. 350-1000 for sure. Your rarest and most favorite model? I have a good few models that I would definitely classify as rare. One of them would definitely have to be the Woody Wings Turkish 777-300ER. That model is like impossible to find anywhere. So I was able to get that on Waffle Collectibles last year sometime, and that model is like insanely hard to find. So that's definitely one of my rarest ones there. Which airport do you like the most? But the airport that I like the most is Honolulu, Hawaii. Are you a Muslim? Just like almost 30% of the world, yes, I am. If you were to fly to California, what airport do you want to visit? So I've been to California many times. I've been to San Francisco, I've been to San Diego, and I think that's it. But if I were to fly to California, definitely Los Angeles. I've never been to LA before. I've never flown to LA, of course, either. So next time, if I ever go to California, LAX is definitely high on my list to visit. And last but not least, from Citrus Aviation, thank you so much for this question. What are your goals for your aviation career? So like I said, I'm studying aerospace engineering right now. I will do my best to continue with this field of study. At the moment, I will be graduating in 2025 if all goes to plan. And so if I get that degree, I'll probably pursue something related to aerospace engineering. But as I've been mentioning throughout the video, I would like to eventually go the pilot route and maybe become a professional pilot for the airlines. But just underlying goal is to get a career related to aviation. That's just my goal there. Underlying thing is just get a career, get a nice paying job in aviation, stick with it for the rest of my life, and I think that'll be the way to go. So that is it. That concludes this insane Q&A. It is almost 11 p.m. I think this took almost an hour to make, so thank you to everybody who stuck around till the end. If you did, thank you so much for your questions. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and stay tuned for Monday's video, which will be, I'm planning, if I can make it in time, a special 10 years thank you video. It was supposed to come out August 15th, which was my actual 10-year anniversary. I was in Dallas, so I didn't have time to make one. So it's gonna be coming out a week later on Monday. Better late than never. Thank you so much everybody for an incredible summer. My next semester will also be starting on Monday. So yeah, this is probably the last video that I'll be making like face-to-face this summer. So thank you all so much for an incredible summer. Thank you so much for asking all of these questions. It's incredible. And thank you so much for all your support over the past few years, past decade, I can say that now. It's been amazing. So thank you so much. I'll leave you all here. Take it easy, take care, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.